Wow. You've come a long, long way, Mr. MacDonald.
Yeah.
You're back.
6.5 months, and I'm back.
And we
Finally.
just
got a little bit of a cold right now. I'm getting over it, but
yeah.
that's one of the problems. My immune system is suppressed because of the anti-rejection drugs. So catching a cold is really easy now, and I got to be careful. My wife suggests that I should start fist bumping like Howie Mandel, I don't think, because of the germs and stuff. And it's true. I have to be careful.
Yeah, licking fans is never a good thing.
No,
there's a lot of stuff going around. Now you are already cracking jokes. You're already working on material, and you're working on another writing project, I hear.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, it's finally starting to happen. In the last couple of weeks, I've been on stage like 10 times, and going to open mic places, just anywhere I can get some stage time. Because it was funny too, because my wife said, "How come you're going on amateur night?" Well, I'm starting over. I have at least 45 minutes of new stuff that before I did it, I didn't know. I mean, there's a certain calculation that, okay, I think this might work. But I was amazed that like 80% of it worked right off the bat. It was like, wow.
Robin Williams, George Carlin, they all jumped on open mic nights to work on material,
yeah.
so that's part of the biz.
Yeah.
Is Ottawa a funny town? Like, you've been here now through your illness and stuff?
I think so. Like, perfect example was on the Canadian Comedy Awards, I emceed the Ottawa shows. And Tom Green, John Doerr, Jeremy Hotz, just 3 people right off the bat that have come from Ottawa.
But the culture of Ottawa, with all the civil servants and the incredibly horrible weather, I mean...
Well, it's the perfect thing, it's the perfect ingredients on why we're funny, because it's sometimes it's boring, sometimes it's inconvenient and everything, and it's like, it's really tedious. So there's the cesspool of, what makes things funny. People go, yeah, I have to entertain myself. I have to do something because I'm going to go crazy if I just sit here and let it go by. So, it's the same thing with my father's side of the family, Scottish Maritimers from Sunny Brae, the small town outside of New Glasgow. They all knew how to play instruments and stuff because they were poor when they're growing up, and they were all funny because they had no entertainment. So they had to entertain themselves. So I think Ottawa's like that too, that we go looking for stuff, and the funny comes out naturally because we're bored. We're sitting around, it's tedious, this, that, the weather sucks, it's cold, I can't go out, I don't know, I'll make some jokes, be funny and laugh. Oh, I'm warm now, I'm laughing. It's good, it works.
So you went through this incredible medical ordeal. You had a liver transplant, you went through the whole process, which you've actually shared publicly on your Facebook wall and in other places. You step on the stage for the first time. What's going through your head?
Wow, I was worried about the material, and I still do now. Since I've only been on 10 times, I have my notes with me, and I find the more I do it, the less I have to look at them. But I have them there as a crutch kind of thing, safety blanket.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get a little brain fog, a little brain confusion, which is part of the deal with the transplant. And, I'll look at it and go, oh, yeah, right, I was talking about this, like that. But it's amazing how many things are now coming back to me, and how many things that I go, oh, I can't believe I'm blanking on that guy's name. And I've seen the movie 50 zillion times. Oh, yeah, Raging Bull, Robert De Niro. So, it's amazing what I forget. And then it's amazing that, like the other day, I was going through my iTunes library, and I remember the song from the 80s going, oh, I can't remember. I can remember the album cover and everything. It was a Canadian group. They had one hit, and I really loved it. And, oh, I'd love to hear it again, but what's the name? And then all of a sudden it came to me, Worlds Away by Strange Advance. And I went, oh
my God, that's a flashback. Strange Advance, I remember those
1987.
Guys. Yeah.
Canadian group, one hit for me.
Yeah.
Boom. Strange Advance, Worlds Away. And I went to the iTunes store, bought it immediately, went, yes, my memory's coming back, yes. Because it was weird, because there was a point, like maybe as much as 4 months into my recovery, the weirdest thing that happened was one night I was in bed, and I left my little hospital TV on, and I woke up and it was on the Comedy Channel, and it was me on Just for Laughs from about 10 years ago. And I couldn't, it was weird because it was me looking at me, and I couldn't remember a word of what I was saying. And no matter how many times people laughed on the tape, I didn't think it was funny at all. I thought, this is terrible. I mean, I couldn't imagine how I did it in the first place. And now, it's lying there in bed, I said, I'm never going to be able to do this again. This is preposterous. It's not funny. It's depressing. Click, turn it off.
But now you're back on stage.
Yeah, thank God I was wrong, and the floodgates have burst open, and I can't keep up with this tsunami of new material. It's amazing. I mean, thank God for my iPhone with the voice memo, because every time I go and interact with anybody, there's something that comes out. Do that later.
So all the material you're working on, it's all new.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. And how's the public responding when you just show up at clubs? They must be a little like, wow, there's Mike.
It's especially the comedians. What are you doing here? I need stage time. Yeah. I mean, I was very fortunate when I started off back in 1979 that there were no comedy clubs, and I would just walk into places and ask them to go on. Like at Barrymore's, I remember I walked in one night and I said, yeah, MacDonald, I'm a comedian. I've been playing at this one club for a while there, but this venue is great. I'd love to play here. And the guy went, yeah, we'll have to come and catch you sometime, trying to blow me off. And I said, well, why don't you catch me right now? I bet you $50 after the band takes a break, I can go up there and make everybody laugh. $50? Oh yeah, okay, all right, let's go. And thank God it worked, because I didn't have $50 in my pocket. They would have beat the hell out of me.
Do young people have that same drive to hustle and succeed that our older generation has?
Some of them do. I mean, some of them don't.
Yeah.
Some of them are just, they're locked away by themselves, or they feel this sense of entitlement that stuff is supposed to automatically go to them. But that's the same with everybody, I think. I mean, every generation has that.
How does that,
good and bad? How
is that changing our society and also changing how we consume entertainment? Like you talked about some TV shows.
I feel that the essence of this whole thing is, I think young people are missing out on experiences because they're just walking through life. I mean, I'm amazed how many people don't get hit by cars because people cross. They got their earbuds on and they're texting away, and
while they're driving.
Yeah, or just walking. How they don't get hit by a car because they don't even look at the lights, and so because you're so wrapped up in this, you're missing out on what's actually happening to you. I mean, there's a time and place to do that. I mean, I do it, yeah, but I do it when I'm in my room or whatever, or sitting down, but I don't do it when I'm walking. I like to experience things as they happen.
While you were recovering, while you were waiting for your replacement, what were the most touching experiences from people in the business? Did people reach out to you?
Yeah,
because comedy's supposed to be like a family, right?
Yeah, my problem was I didn't get back on the internet. Let's see, I had the transplant in March. I didn't get back on the internet until late July. Mm-hmm. I mean, just getting back into my accounts because I couldn't remember my passwords. So I'd go to the Facebook and I couldn't remember my password. Going, oh my God. So I go, I can't remember my password. Click on that. And then we'll send you an email so you can change your password. But the problem was I couldn't remember the password to get into my email.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I was sitting there going, what do I do now? And I tried to guess the security questions, the mm-hmm. answers properly. Like, where did you meet your wife? Toronto. Wrong. What do you mean wrong?
That's not a punchline.
That's where I met her. And according to them, I couldn't even get my birth date right. June 21st, 1955. Wrong. What do you mean wrong? Why would I put anything else? That's my birthday. I always put... It took me like at least a week mm-hmm. to guess the answers because each time, like, you do a wrong answer 3 or 4 times, they would cut you out. They would lock you out for 12 to 24 hours. Please try again later. It's like, wow, it took me a whole week just to get back in. And then it took another week just to read all the stuff that people had said from the day that they found out that I was getting the transplant to intermediate little posts from other people who had visited me and said, oh, he's doing great, and everything. Oh, well, that's great, please tell us more. And I always felt guilty about that, but at the time, the last thing I wanted to do was get on the internet. I mean, I could barely go to the bathroom, so getting on the internet was like, My wife would set up Netflix and go, hey, you can watch anything you want. I couldn't even decide what to watch. That was a big deal to me. It was just like, leave me alone. I don't know what to watch. Yeah, don't leave it up to put something on. I don't know. It was terrible.
When I was doing research for my project, I discovered that even in concentration camps in World War II, they wrote jokes.
Yeah.
Are you going to be building a whole body of material based on your experiences?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't help it now. I mean, plus there was a lot of stuff that was not only funny, but I think that should be passed on. And the trick is, there's certain things, like I've always felt that as a comedian, when I'm doing my job the best, at my best capability, it's pointing out to the audience that the emperor has no clothes. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you get people laughing, when their mouths are open, that's when you can slip in the message.
Yeah.
You give them a spoonful of sugar, and then the medicine goes down really a lot easier. When they're laughing, they're open.
Have you ever been to Ben & Jerry's factory out in Stowe, Vermont?
No.
That's what they do when it's time for free sample time. They give you your little cup of ice cream and you're eating it, and then they're telling you all the wonderful things that they do and their missions and stuff like that. It's textbook, exactly what you just said.
So yeah, I mean, so like one thing, for example, I have to figure out the punchline to bring it up, but it's a very important fact. Because I had an adverse reaction to the anti-rejection drugs, it skyrocketed my bipolar, manic depressive state into hyperdrive. So the ironic thing about it was the 3-month protocol. After you have a transplant, you have to stay in Toronto, in an apartment or wherever you can find to live, in case there's complications, so you can be close to the hospital and the team that did the transplant in the first place. But when we were allowed to return back to Ottawa, it took me twice as long to get a psychiatric referral than a new liver. So
why?
It's one of the, we have a great healthcare system, better than most, but there's still room for improvement in that area. When it comes to mental illness, taking twice as long to get a psychiatrist appointment than a new liver? It's not right.
Now, you're talking about this. It's Mental Health Week coming up.
Yeah.
You're completely open about your bipolar condition.
Yeah, since, I don't know, at least 10 years ago when I started working for an organization that phoned me up and asked me to, if I would do a show for them, was Stand Up for Mental Health. David Grenier out of Vancouver. He's a psychologist. He teaches patients how to do comedy. And the shows are great. If you ever hear about them, see them, advertise, go, because it's fantastic. You have 8 or 9 patients, and it was weird because I remember the first time I referred to them as, I'm here with all these patients, and they go, "What are you calling these patients?" And I go, No, I'm a patient. We're all patients. That's why I like being with you people, because you get it. I don't have to explain anything because we're all in the same boat. We're all patients.
Well, there's a long history of comedy and insanity.
Yeah, and very.
You actually hit me with a line on that.
Well,
before.
yeah, there's 2 kinds of comics: undiagnosed and diagnosed. The diagnosed ones are the great ones. But what was it? The shows for mental health, they have like 8 or 9 patients that come out, and 9 times out of 10 they will talk about their maladies. So it's great, it's fantastic. And then for me coming on at the end as the headliner. It's so easy, and one of my favorite lines is, the great thing about you people is I can talk about anything now. After you've seen the first 9 acts, I mean, I can come out and go, I remember back in July when I wanted to kill myself. Like the third guy.
Yeah, how do you top that? Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
But it's very cathartic.
Now, we were talking in the warm-up also that you've watched a lot of TV during your recovery.
Yeah.
Is the world different in the last year?
It's depressing, For example, Honey Boo Boo. It's a perfect example.
You're not going to attack Honey Boo Boo.
Well, I don't have to. It attacks itself. But the thing about Honey Boo Boo is a perfect example of just when you thought they were scraping the barrel, they go out and make a bigger barrel. And it's like, no, we haven't quite scraped the bottom. And it just amazes me how they can continue to go further into scraping the bottom of the barrel.
But that's human nature. I mean,
It's unreal.
with our online newspaper, we have a meter on every page that we write, and if there's a car wreck, if someone's bone is sticking out, if something horrible happens, that's what people click on. If I mention the mayor's colostomy bag, that's what people want to click on. They go, "Ooh, it's horrible," but you know, Honey Boo Boo is a train wreck. People love that.
It's in the true sense of irony too, because most people think that irony is a funny coincidence. It's not. It's the incongruity between what is expected to happen and what happens. So it's in true irony that Honey Boo Boo is on the Learning Channel. Because what exactly are we learning here? I mean,
so how many episodes have you watched?
I've watched half of one.
That's it?
That's all I needed. Really.
You're not going to admit to more?
No. Half of one was enough. I mean, as soon as I saw the subtitles, I go, okay, I got to mention that. I mean, basically what you're learning here is when you watch 5 minutes of this show, you want to go to your family and go, I'm sorry, I've been very hard on you. At least we don't have to talk in subtitles. No, it's my bad. No, I've been hard on. No, you're a great family compared to these people. You know.
But irony is that Honey Boo Boo's mom has stolen her show on her. The mom is the star of the show.
Right. It's just creepy. It's just, I mean, it's amazing how they finally caved into the, we have to have subtitles, because that meeting went, Americans don't like subtitles. Americans don't like foreign films. If they want to read, they will open a book, and they don't want to open a book. No, but if we don't put the subtitles in, how are you going to know what they're saying?
All right, we are back after that technical glitch, and it was the curse of Honey Boo Boo, which is what we were talking about. You wanted to...
Well, one more thing. I've only watched like half an episode, and I really don't think I need to watch any more. Like, I have a couple of jokes on it, and I make my statement, and that's it. But sometimes, like stuff like Honey Boo Boo, it falls into a category that I think of the analogy of... the shows I watch on Nat Geo Wild. I love Animal Planet and all that stuff. It's like Honey Boo Boo's like this carcass on the Serengeti, and all these hyenas go in there and they are, I'm a lion. I don't want to eat with the hyenas. And I don't want to eat a carcass. I want to take down something fresh. So there's an antelope over there. I'm going to go, I eat it by myself, and the hyenas show up and hey, get away, I'm not finished. And when I'm finished, all right, you can have the scraps. I'm a lion. I hate hyenas.
Well, let's go from the bottom of the barrel and hyena food to the top. And who, for you, has been the best comedy writer that you've ever known or watched work that isn't famous?
That isn't famous?
That isn't famous.
Well, the weird thing to me is no matter who I watch, there's usually something that either I go, oh man, that could be a great joke if they fixed it, or it is a great joke, how come I didn't write it? Oh my God, maybe I can buy it off the guy. But 9 times out of 10, no.
Well, sometimes it's delivery, not the material.
Yeah, and and sometimes I think, wow, that was such a fantastic joke. Now it's like a one-hit wonder band. How can all their other songs be bad if that one's so good? I can't figure it out. So just about everybody that I see has something that falls in one of those 3 categories.
But who are the best comedic writers you've ever known?
There's too many to start rattling off, because I'll feel embarrassed about leaving certain people out. But all the people that are writing the current crop of shows out there, I mean the unknown writers for The Daily Show, Stephen Colbert.
A lot of Canadians on writing those shows.
A lot of Canadians on there, yeah.
Canadians are funny people.
Well, yeah. We're the best, because we absorb everything. Yeah. The Americans, boy, you had to like really pull their teeth to get them to watch anything British.
Yeah.
They're always making their own versions of the British stuff, and they're always thinking their version's better. To me, the Canadians are like, what is this fighting stuff? I like the British version and I like the American version. I like everything. Everything is funny.
Well, Monty Python, it was some good Canadian boys and Danny Aykroyd and Lorne Michaels that got it onto Saturday Night Live, and that's where America really...
And Monty Python, I remember distinctly in Ottawa, going to Carleton University every Wednesday night, sitting in a room with 200 people watching a little TV, going, Monty Python, years before America went, Monty Python? What? Yeah, I mean, so, Canadians were in, we're in.
Python, is it the delivery or the material?
Both. And it's the callbacks. It's the hidden nuggets within, like the meaning of life. Mr. Creosote.
Yes.
The fat guy.
Yes.
Oh, good. Don't skip on the pate. Yes. I wouldn't dream of skipping. Boom.
Yeah.
Creosote.
Yes.
Somebody told me that if you look up the word creosote, it's a plant in the desert that absorbs water and every bit of nutrient and energy. It just sucks it up. So you sit there and you go, they're brilliant. Well, could have named them anybody, Mr. Harold, Mr. Johnson. No, it's Mr. Creosote. Boom. That's the hidden bonus that you get with Monty Python. That's the superior writing. That it's like you watch it again and again, and you're always getting something out of it. You're always learning. You're always doing. You're fun. Parts of Monty Python are so funny that in the old days with the VHS, you just rewind and rewind and rewind to watch.
People today don't. A lot of people today, that goes swoosh right over their heads.
Yeah, it's too bad.
That doesn't connect. Comedy, comedy was growing up in the 70s and the 60s even. And even of the 80s a little bit, it was a form of rebellion. It was basically saying "fuck you" to the world.
Yeah.
And nowadays, comedy doesn't feel like that anymore. It's far more PC. Like you were talking about a joke you were working on, which we won't blow, we won't share.
So sometimes you have to tell the audience how to react. I think in the best example, sometimes when you're on stage, you have to be like a chess player, 2 moves ahead of your opponent.
Yeah.
If the audience reacts like this, I say this. If they react like that, I do this. Whatever. So sometimes when they ooh me with their PC indignation, I have to point out why they're wrong and why my morality, which has been presented up to that point as something they agree with, and then all of a sudden they come up with a joke, they go ooh, and I go, really? Do you really think that after all this up to here, then I would go and slice my own throat? No. You're taking it the wrong way. Perfect example, I was doing a benefit for battered women. Big sign, battered women, shelters, big sign behind me. 500 women. I'm sitting there and I go, yeah, and I'm doing the story about, I was at Kentucky Fried Chicken one night, just before they closed. And I asked for bread for the meal, right? And the girl goes, oh, we're just about to close. We're going to throw this out. If you really like bread, we have some extra bread. Would you care for the extra bread? And I go, oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And later on in my act, I said, yeah. Now, as a married man, I know what's going on. She's just being polite. It's great. I know how to take that. I go, thank you very much. But that same situation can be misconstrued by a guy with no morality, like a bottom feeder. Yeah. Oh, extra bread. Hey, yeah. Okay, you getting off soon? I'll be outside waiting for you. So all of a sudden, this act of kindness turned into like, whoa. And all of a sudden, she's in court, did you or did you not offer my client extra bread? Yes, but I was just being, no further questions. The jury is gonna, and the jury has decided that she was asking for it. Boom. And the 500 women go, ooh, and I go, you think I would come up here and do a joke like that and cut me? I thought we were all in the same boat. I thought I was preaching to the choir. I'm pointing out how the injustice of the law is. The whole trial system. How men look at you. Oh, she was asking for. That's wrong.
So what do comics do when the crowd doesn't get the joke?
Well, I explained to them. I read out and I go, look, I thought we were in the same boat. I thought I was exposing something that we all agreed upon. That it's not just. And then they went, They did like Edith Bunker takes from All in the Family.
So how do you get the crowd back when that happens? Because that's got to be like a.
And then I just went to the next joke.
Yeah.
I mean, but you have to stop them and go, no, you're wrong. You're wrong to think that. Yes, you're right to think that if I was doing that, but I'm not doing that. I'm pointing out what we all know to be wrong. You know, it's like perfect example when the left, the you know, when the Democrats and Republicans, when the Republicans imitate the Democrats, we all know that they're imitating the Democrats. You know, oh, the liberal, they want to give money to everybody. They just want everybody to sit at home and not work and get everything for free. And you sit there and you go, yeah, no, that's not. I know what you're doing. I know what you're trying to do, and you know that's not the way it is. But when the left, when they imitate the right, and they go,
you mean like they're doing now in the States?
Yeah. You know, the Republicans are, you know, in the back room going, N-word, N-word, N-word. Oh my God, he said the N-word. No, I'm telling you what they're saying. I'm not, you know, oh my God, you're getting it wrong. You know, I'm pointing out how bad they are. I'm not doing it. You know?
So, switching gears here, who are you enjoying in comedy right now? Who's hot for you? Who would you pay money to see?
Again, there's just so many people.
Who stands out? Like just for today, maybe tomorrow someone else will stand out, but
there was a guy I just noticed because of the feedback on the Facebook thing, a guy, Stuart Lee, that I saw a couple of years ago from Britain. And I was talking to Rick Overton, another great comedian, friend of mine, an American from L.A., and we both agreed that Stuart Lee was one of those guys that when you watch him, you don't want to go, oh, he's so brilliant, I have to stop doing this. You watch him and you go, oh, that just makes me want to get back in the gym and work out even more and bring it up to, you know, he's raised the bar. So, you know, when people raise the bar, people fall off or they come up to that bar, you know. And it's great, a person like that inspires you to go, yeah, you know. And like the last thing I was really inspired by something I read was George Carlin's last book, his memoirs. I mean, that was amazing. I mean, I read that book in two sittings.
Did you ever work with him?
I met him a couple of times. Never actually worked with him, but I met him a couple of times, and it was great. I handled that really well because I've had some bad experiences. I remember when I first met Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was my idol. I mean, his first concert film was like the blueprint for when I started out. And I met him at the Comedy Store one night. It was when he was doing Superman 3. He was going on stage every night doing material about the movie and stuff, trying to get back into it, you know. So every night, you know, we'd go there and my best friend said, oh, you know, Richard Pryor's there, come on, you know, gotta go. And he comes off stage, and my friend knows him, so he goes, oh, this is Mike MacDonald. He's a comedian from Canada. And I go, and it's like the student meeting the professor that you based your life on.
So you didn't keep your cool.
I want to be like that.
Yeah.
And I made the mistake, and I said to him, you know that bit you do about the kryptonite ring? Yeah. What you could say is blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I was like a student.
Yeah.
Trying to give back to my mentor who had given me everything to be where I am, trying to return the favor. And he just looked at me with that look like, who the hell are you to tell me anything?
Yeah, he wasn't saying it that way in his head, though, if he was.
But, you know what I mean? That's the look. And I went, oh, my. And I realized right away, I've made the biggest boo-boo. I mean, the faux pas to my idol. And I said, all right. And I backed out of the circle. And then every other night, I saw him like 5 nights in a row. Every night he would walk by and he'd look at me and go, there's that guy. And I go, it was really funny. Okay.
So.
And then finally, on the 6th night I get there, I was too late. I had something else to do. I was too late. I had missed his set. And I went, damn it, I missed him tonight. I'm walking down the hallway, and there's this stairwell going up to the belly room at the Comedy Store in L.A., and he's sitting there, and I walk by, and I look, and he's sitting there, like, thinking about his set, I guess, something like that, whatever. And he looks up, and he sees me, and I look at him, and I go, you again? Nothing. No laughs. Next day I'm on the plane, flying back to Canada going, I blew it. I blew my idol. Oh my God. But when I met George Carlin, it's a totally different experience.
You didn't try and teach Carlin comedy?
No. George Carlin walks into Yuck Yucks in Toronto. Everybody goes crazy. The swarm, he got swarmed by all the comedians. George Carlin,
you just want to touch him.
Are you going to go on? He says, yeah, I'd like to go on. He's going to go on. And I'm just sitting in the back going, okay, all the hyenas, I'm going to wait for my spot and take them down properly. I'll just wait like a sniper. I'm not going to go in there and blast away. I'm just going to wait and get the shot. He says, yeah, I'd like to go on, but does anybody, have anything to smoke? And one of the comics, Larry Horowitz, goes, hey, can anybody get George a joint? George needs a joint. And I go, oh, it's George now? 2 seconds ago, it's Mr. Carlin? Oh, now we're on a first name basis. Can anybody get George a joint? Can George get a joint?
And that's when George beat you up?
No, that's when George laughed. I looked over and he's laughing. And then when the joint came, there's all these people around him. I'm sitting over there. He takes a toke. Instead of passing it to his right or left, he goes, Mike? And I go, thank you. And I go, I did it. I did it right. Because I always do the full. I mean, I remember one time meeting Christopher Reeves back when, before the accident. It was at an award show in L.A. And backstage, I had just performed on the award show. It was the Cable Ace Awards before they allowed HBO to be on the Emmys and stuff, right? So they had their little award show. So I did 5 minutes because I was nominated for one of my comedy specials. And Christopher Reeves is backstage after I finished, and he walks up and he goes, oh, really funny. And he goes to shake my hand. As soon as he touches my hand, I go, oh, Superman, oh, Superman. And he just looks at me and goes, and he walks away, and I go, oh, why did I have to do that?
Because you're a comic.
I know. It's like, but why? I should have just said, thank you, Mr. Reed. But no, I had to go, oh, no, Superman, no.
So,
I'm an idiot.
Who during your ascent and during your career was the most generous with you in comedy? When you just talked about Carlin.
George Carlin was, I mean, I met him like 3 or 4 times, and every time he was talking. And another guy that was like that was Alan King. I couldn't believe that each time he would see me that he would remember my name, let alone who I was. And he told me a million stories. And it was funny because the first time I met him, he hosted the Young Comedians show on HBO back in 81, I think. 80, 81 when I was on. And after the show, I sat down with him at the bar. And he was having a couple of drinks. And he was telling me all these stories. And some of the guys that were on the show, they were outside in the window. And they're looking at me going, come and hang out with us. And I'm going, Alan King, he's telling me. And they're going, and they're making faces like I shouldn't be sitting there. And I said, you guys are missing it. This guy is history.
Yeah. This
guy is telling me all kind of stuff about Ed Sullivan, stuff about Johnny Carson, stuff about Al Pacino. He's going, yeah, I did that movie with Al Pacino, author. And Al every day would go, Alan, I don't know. The comedy, I don't understand it. He goes, Al, what's the mystery? It's you say this, I say that, the audience laughs. What's the mystery? Get over it.
Were there any comics in your career that weren't generous or were total a-holes?
Yeah. I mean, I've never got along with Bill Maher. For some reason, he doesn't like me. I don't know why, but he's always just treated me terrible. And
But does he kick you or like push you down?
No, he always made me feel like, oh, you're trying to do comedy, huh?
He could be anti-Canadian.
Yeah, I don't know, but
he could. He looks like the type that would be anti-Canadian.
He always made me feel that I was barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah.
No matter what success I had, he always made me feel like, you're still trying comedy. Yeah. And it sort of makes me biased towards him, But on some levels, like I remember one time when he was on Larry King, right? And somebody phoned in and said, "Oh, Bill, thank God you're the voice of reason. Everybody out there, you're the only one that's telling us the truth," and blah blah blah. And I was taken back by his response, because his response was, "Thank you, thank you very much. Yep, you're right. Yep, I'm that guy. Yep."
Humility. Humility's.
And I sat there and went, my radar went off, going boop boop boop, because I am always conscious of that. Like I remember in all three of my specials, you know, the big sign behind me with my name and neon, you know, big sign. My first joke when I walked out was, "Huh? What do you think of the sign? Same as the one I got in my living room." You know, I mean, you know, "Hey, you're the best comedian in the world." You know, thank you. No, you go, "No, I'm not." You know, I understand your intention, but no.
So you're fighting back. You're doing a lot of stage work right now. You're trying to get the muscles back and work on some material. When's going to be are you planning to go back on tour? Are you planning to?
I'm not looking forward to spending a lot of time out on the road, but certain gigs, like I have a couple of gigs coming up that I'm really looking forward to, because the priority is not mainly on how funny I'm going to be. The priority is on talking about my experience. So they're in a situation where you either have patients, hospital staff, or whatever, or people in that field of mental illness or liver transplant or transplants in general. Like basically with my plate full of maladies, stuff that I've had to deal with in my life, drug addiction, migraine headaches, liver transplant, bipolar manic depressive, slate Tourette's syndrome.
You're like a chick I dated.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
I've got a full plate.
Yeah.
So I feel I can basically walk into any hospital and there's going to be somebody there that's going to benefit from listening to what I have to say. So those are the ones I'm looking forward to, you know. And so those gigs, you know, you fly in, next day you do the gig, and then the next day you fly back home. Yeah. Those are great. Boom, 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 boom. But going on the road for like 3-4 weeks, that would be tough, because, you know, you have to eat right, have to exercise, and being on the road.
And you said you're working on a writing project?
Yeah, people keep telling me to write a book, especially after the note that I just released on Facebook about my recovery. And I was dealing with writing a mammography, a combination, I want to coin that word, patent pending, mammography. It's memoirs. And
sounds like it involves boobs.
You're going there,
jacket cover. Yeah.
Mammography. Memoirs and autobiography combined.
Oh, memoir.
Yeah.
Mammography.
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 Yeah. M-E-M.
Not mammography.
No. M-E-M.
Maybe you can just still get the boobs in there.
I don't know how to spell it, but I have it in the file spelled right.
Okay.
Well, actually, it came up. We've never seen this word. You know, like what?
Grab the web name before someone else does.
Yeah. So I think I might give it a go back to that, because the whole transplant recovery will certainly be, if not the last chapter, certainly a big chapter in that book.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much for some time today, and I appreciate it. And keep up the good work, and we'll talk soon.
Cool.
Okay.